Battler scratched at the floor, crying heavily. Beto watched that with a distressed face. Then she stood up and spoke to the witch.
わらわがそなたの手に反撃。
へえ、この完璧なるチェックメイトにあなたはどう切り込んでくれるというのかしら。人間には決して破ることのできないこのチェックメイトをあなたごときがどう破るというの？
ベアトリーチェ、あなたまさか。
Oh man, she is.
人間にさせぬ一手ならわらわが魔女であるがゆえにさせる一手でそなたを。
魔女であるがゆえにさせる一手。お前何をする気だ？
わらわが魔女を否定する。
Interesting.
ベアトリーチェ。
お嬢様。
The teacher and the butler were both startled. I also immediately understood what it meant. To use the red that only witches could use. To use the red to deny witches. It was like using her own sword to slit her own throat.
はあんた何を言ってるの？
It looks like it checks out.
魔女を否定？バカ言ってんじゃないわよ。そんなことしたらあんたも無事じゃ済まないわよ。
そなたは魔女にあらず、そしてわらわもまた真の魔女への道は険しく、まだまだなれば好都合。今この場にもとより魔女など存在はしないのだ。わらわが自らその
私もあんたもしっかり堂々とした魔女でしょうが、赤が使えることこそ魔女の証。あんたにとって魔女の定義がどういうものか知らないけど、あんただけは無傷で済むなんて勘違いをしているなら今すぐ。
この島は永遠にそれで良いのだ。
ですって。
わらわは魔女になど慣れていなかった。真の魔女になるためにようやくその道のりを歩き始めたのです。もし今のわらわが魔女だというのなら、それは力に溺れないそなたに同じ偽りの魔女に過ぎ、そのようなみすぼらしい姿なり未練などない。そなたもろともわらわの
正気。やめなさい。私はまだ魔女でいたいのよ。人間は嫌なのよ。
魔女様、どうかご着席を。人間側の受け手をどうかご着席の上お受けください。
何をするの？離して。その女に赤を使わせないで。やめさせて。離せ。
As the witch stood from her seat and tried to spring upon Beto, Ronov pressed down on both of her shoulders, forcing her back into her seat. And even after that, he didn't remove his hands from those shoulders. Denying witches was the same thing as denying magic. That included demons such as Ronove. However, instead of running away, Ronove chose to act as the facilitator for the game, and to carry out that duty for his master's sake.
ベアトリーチェ、後悔はないのですね。お師匠様こそごめん。いっぱい楽しい魔法や幸せな魔法を教えてもらったのに全然上手に使えなかった。だからゼロから修行やり直してくる。そのバカ弟子の不始末に巻き込んで本当にすまなかった。良き弟子よ、さあなたの信じるままにお行きなさい。
お前らが何の話をしてるのか。
Battler and I are backing up each other here. No idea what's going
だ
on.
がこれだけは分かる。そして言える。ベアト、何をしようとしてるのか知らねえが、
これからやろうとしていることをやめろ。
そなたに手はない。しかしわらはこの一手逃せばあやつは魔女として真の意味で復活し、今度こそこの島の全てを支配する。全ての悪夢はあの女の自由自在となり、この島は永遠に邪悪なる魔女の妄想を繰り返す無限地獄に落ちるだろう。そなたはそれを許せるというのか。親しい家族たちは永遠にあの魔女の悪夢にもてあそばれてもよいと。
だがお前が犠牲になることなんてないだろ。これは俺と奴のゲームだ。お前が身を犠牲にして手を刺すことなんてない。俺が考える。起死回生の一手を必ず考えるから。だから早まるな。絶対に思いつくから。だから早まるんじゃねえ。
このゲーム残酷であるぞ。すでにそなたの兆候に制限時間を使い切っておるわ。もはやわらわしかおらぬ。安心せよバトラ。わらわが撃つあの残酷なる魔女を。わらわが待
てベアト。やめろよせ。お前が自分を犠牲にする必要なんて何もない。
わらわを否定するためにそなたは戦っていたのだろうが、おかしなやつだ。
あの子の好きにさせてあげてください。そしてどうか見届けてやってください。
しかし
バトラー、一つだけ頼みがある。耳を塞いでくれぬか。
耳をどうして。
わらわは
Because the game makes no fun. The game is no fun if you already know the answer.
あやつの赤で敷き詰めた盤面を切り裂いてみせる。
You don't want to hear any of the bad words she's about to say, Battler.
わらわもまた魔女の姿を失うだろう。そなたもわらわが語る赤き真実を聞けば、わらわの正体を理解することになる。
And then the game would be over, and that would kind of suck considering that we still have more chapters in it.
そなた一人が耳を塞いだところで真実は何も変わらん。だがそれでもそなたにだけはそなたの前だけでは魔女でいたいのだ。頼む。
ベアトリーチェ様、魔女側問題ありません。どうぞ察してよ。
No problem on the witch side whatsoever.
ただじゃ済まないのよ。あいつおかしいわ。私たちを巻き込んで自分も死ぬ気よ。やめて。否定しないで。やめて。
Annoying till the end.
仮に
Listen
も
to that
黄金
voice.
の魔女が見苦しいぞ。さあ良いか。バトラの代わりにそなたのチェックメイトを外す。15人が死に3人しか残らぬチェス盤にて何が起こったのか。わらわがこれより赤にて暴く。その赤き真実にて偽りの魔女2人を共に貫いて殺す。
Beto turned around and smiled at Battler. Most likely, no one would believe that the witch who had gone to the limits of cruelty would try to leave a smile as the last expression she showed Battler. And that smile signified her last wish, that she wanted him to cover his ears. Denying witches in red was the same as knowing her shabby form. Battler put both of his hands against his ears to protect her final, Honor as a witch, he put his hands against his ears, rejecting the truth. And he howled, so that not even a bit of what she was saying would slip into his ears. After that was a world where Battler could not hear anything. Beto was saying something with red. Even the evil witch covered her ears with those bitter contents. That was the red truth. Words of power. Words that denied her own existence. Unique words that only witches could use, which denied witches. It's interesting. Beto spoke. With the red truth, she cut up the bright red game board that the witch had released. She explained difficult problems that could not be solved by humans, with moves that could only be solved by witches, and began cornering the witch. The truth that Battler was not permitted to hear. If Battler had broken his promise and sneakily eavesdropped, in an instant Battler would probably have been able to become the victor in his game with Beto, but that wouldn't have been nearly as fun. She probably explained all of the riddles on the island. All of the magic and tricks, closed rooms, spells, curses, legends. And the entire tale of anger, and sadness. However, Battler would only learn what that was when he reached the truth by himself. Yes. From the beginning, Beatrice wished that Battler would reach that truth by himself. It was something that shouldn't be reached by being told it. It was a truth that Battler would have to drag himself to with his own power. A brilliant light gathered with Beto and the evil witch at the center, and grew gradually stronger. It was the power of truth. Its heat and brilliance like the sun, shone on all of the falsehoods that hid in the darkness, trying to deceive, and burnt them to nothing.
山をなす黄金であろうと、海を裂く魔法であろうと、手に入らぬものがあることを知れ。さあ、姿を現すがいいぞ。その正体を表せ。後ろ宮エヴァ。
When the sun exploded and blew everything away, Eva could be seen there holding a gun.
あんたが犯人なんだ。エヴァおばさん。
Really?
気づくのが遅いわよ、バトラ君。
Eva, you were behind it all. Oh no! Spooky! Without any hesitation or mercy, Eva raised the gun and pulled the trigger. An explosion could be heard. Battler's heart had been shot through and he fell to the floor. After going into convulsions for a short time, with blood dripping from his mouth, Battler died. Oh, let's see how you died, Battler. Was shot to death by Oshirimiya Eva inside the mansion. Jessica lost her eyesight. Battler was with her. Wolf and sheep puzzle. Oh, Eva's the wolf, and they're the sheep. Interesting. But in his last moments, he realized without a doubt that she was a murderer. And not just for killing him. There have been many murders and I don't have a clue how they were carried out. However, while my ears were covered, Beto exposed all of them with the red, blasting away all magic. In other words, even though I didn't understand it, Had that been nothing more or less than proof that magic can all be explained with humans? Beto made me cover my ears, so I myself don't know the whole truth. However, now that it's been denied and read, I know that one fact which is extremely unfair for us, that it is possible to deny all magic. So in other words, no, I must not think of that. If I do, then the time I covered my ears would be made pointless. If I'm going to regret, I can only regret my own actions. If, at that time, I had thought of some turnabout move to counter the witch's final move, there would have been no need for Beto to sacrifice herself. I brought about this conclusion because I was worthless. Even though it was a pitch-black world where nothing could be seen, for some reason, I felt Beto's presence right next to me. So I tried calling out to her. You can exchange words with someone whether they're a human or a witch. So even in a world where witches have been denied, I should be allowed to talk to her.
ベアト。
バトラか。やったぞ。わらわは。やった。
ああ、聞こえはしなかったが、俺はお前の姿を。お前が邪悪な魔女に毅然と立ち向かうところをちゃんと見。
これでもうわらわは魔女ではない。だが必ずわらわは再び魔女になるぞ。そして再び黄金の魔女と呼ばれるに至って再びそなたの対戦相手だと認められに帰ってくるから。
いや、お前は魔女だったぜ。俺は見てたぜ。お前があの邪悪な魔女をすっげえ魔法で吹き飛ばしてその正体を暴き出すところを俺はちゃんとこの目で見ていたぜ。
あれは魔法ではなく赤き。
いや、魔法だったぜ。お前は確かに黄金の魔女だった。お前自らが否定しようとも俺が認めてやるよ。お前は確かに黄金の魔女だ。
When Battler said those words, in the world that had been dark, there was suddenly a single grain. A small grain of gold, like a wheat seed, shone brightly. And even though it was small, it had a strong gold-colored sparkle. Then, it shone on the two of them sitting with their backs together. So they each became aware of their own form. They did not exist only as consciousness. They became aware that they had bodies and definitely existed. No, maybe we should say that they each had been given an existence called a body. When Battler looked at his own form, he wasn't that surprised. But when Beto looked at her own form, she was a little startled. From Battler's perspective, she looked just like normal. But for a short while, she was surprised by that form.
これはどういうことなのか。
あの光の粒の輝きがどんどん強くなる。
That grain of wheat was no longer simply gold-colored, but it was like the light of the sun. Then it softly began to approach Beto's chest. When that grain of the sun was sucked inside her chest, the world was wrapped in a deep blue sky. Then a deep blue ocean was spread out below them. An island rose up. Trees sprouted and created a forest. Walls surrounded us, and a ceiling swallowed us. And was adorned with more and more things, made to be like the hall in the Ushiromiev mansion. In the middle of the fantastical hall where many gold butterflies beat their wings. Many tables were set up with white tablecloths like it was a party. And beautiful cooking and fruits were set out. And over there were a great many shades. It was everyone talking together and smiling.
みんな
There was Dad and Kirie-san, Krasoji-san, Aunt Natsui and Rosa Oba-san, and of course even Aunt Eva and Hideyoshi Oji-san. George, Aniki, Jessica, Maria, wait, even Shannon-chan, Kanon-kun, Goda-san, and Kumasawa-san are here. Everyone was in the party, clapping their hands, celebrating our return. A little bit unexpected here. Still very confused by this whole turn of events, but it seems happy enough. There's George with his dopey face.
どうしてだみんな死んだのにどうして生きてるんだ
黄金鏡では全ての死者の魂を蘇らせることができるのです。おかえりなさい、ベアトリーチェ。そしてようこそ、バトラ君。黄金鏡へようこそ。
わらわ黄金鏡への扉に至ったのか。
はい、お嬢様はついに全員を黄金鏡へお招きできたのです。ようこそバトラ様、黄金鏡へ。
バトラ、ようやくここへたどり着いたか。
Hi, Kinzo.
じいさま
This is like literally the first time we've had any character interaction between Battler and Kinzo.
俺は一体
Or honestly, anybody but servants and Kinzo, really.
お前はわしの魔法と相入れぬ血を最も濃く受け継いでしまったのだ。故にこの黄金鏡にお前だけがたどり着けず、ずっとベアトリーチェはそなたを探していたのだ。そなたをここへ連れてくるためにあらゆる手を尽くしておった。
なんだって。
これでようやく全員が揃いましたな。
This is weird. Is this still the third game, or is this all the people from the first game? A little bit confused now.
バトラ様もお席へ。
Like, it sounds like the first game, but I'm not sure.
今宵の料理はこの5打目の最高傑作を尽くしました。どうかぜひご賞味ください。
あんた光栄に思いなさいよね。本当は私が全部食べるところお情けで
Oh,
あんた
well,
ら
isn't
の分
that
残して
isn't
あげてるん
that
だからね。
kind right there.
7クイーン姉ちゃんたち
黄金鏡では意志ある者すべてが公平だ。ここで我ら家具とて人間とて魔女とて区別はない。
バトラ様お待ちしておりました。そしてようこそ黄金鏡へ。
シャノちゃん長司の兄貴僕もまだこれが夢じゃないかと疑ってるよ。
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling that way as well, actually.
僕たちは死んだはず。でも生きてる。そして全員が全員ここにいて幸せなんだ。信じられない。
そうよ、どうせここは夢の中の世界なのよ。だからジョージがメイドの女と仲良くしたってどうせ夢なんだから。
予算かエヴァ。今は黙って若い二人を祝福せなあかん。黄金鏡は至福の都や。ここではいがみ合いは一切なしやで。
ここでは
Ev is the only unhappy person here.
誰にもはばかられることはない。
ジェシカちゃん、ガロン君素敵。焼けちゃうわ。 ようバトラー、なんだかその
バトラ様、ようこそ。そしてお帰りなさいませ。
Jessica was probably embarrassed because she was holding hands with Cannon-kun. And Cannon-kun wanted to act humbly like a servant and bow. But since neither of them could let go of the other's hand, he couldn't do it so well. And the whole scene looked fairly comical.
使用人のことなんてダメです。うちのジェシカをやれるわけありません。
The only people that are mad are those mothers.
いいじゃないかね。好きな相手くらい自由に選ばせてやるといい。
ダメです、ダメです。ジェシカ。
For them, the Golden Land was a bad, bad place.
うちもダメなのよ、ジョージ。
As Aunt Natsui and Aunt Eva hugged each other, they cried tears of regret for their cute children, even though they had always been at odds. It was a very bizarre scene.
いいじゃないですか。誰が誰を好きになったって。
そうよ、親が子離れしてない証拠ね。
バトラー、俺はお前がどんな女を連れ帰っても生温かく受け入れてやるからな。
この人に紹介しちゃダメよ。すぐ手を出すから。とっとと駆け落ちしちゃうのよ。
バトラー、やっとここへ来た。
No, 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 you've already gotten to the Golden Land. Don't laugh evilly.
マリア、お前は最初からここへ来ることになると知って。
だからマリアは何も怖くなかった。みんなは臆病でビクビク。面白かった。
なんてこった。一番ずれてると思ってたお前が実は最初から真相を知ってたなんてな。
無礼です。
Oh, good.
教に対してそのような口の利き方、とても許せません。射撃曲線形成、攻撃準備よし。
I'm glad you guys are here. You're totally my favorite character in the entire story, both of you.
いつでも攻撃できます。
お静かに、ベアトリーチェ様の御前です。まあ固いことを言わずに、今ははしゃいで喜び合いたい気持ちを察しましょう。それより乾杯の準備を始めようではありませんか。
さあさあ、自慢のサバ料理の準備は十分
Everyone
で
was
すよ。
looking forward to it, Kumasawa.
いつでも配膳できますよ。
ほらみんな、少しはかぐらしく働きなさいよ。やだ、もっとつまみ食いするの。
さあ働こう。お客人方を待たせるな。私たちはアクセク働き奉仕をしよう。お客人たちに何もさせるな。武将にさせて怠惰にさせて、コロコロと豚のように肥えさせろ。
Yeah, that sounds great.
ベアトリーチェ、バトラ君、こちらへ。
Grandfather and Virgilio were standing on the landing at the top of the staircase, beckoning us. After Pino and I turned our heads to see what was going on, we climbed the stairs together. From the hall, it looked like a very high stage. A small table had been set up there, as well as a piece of parchment and an old-fashioned quill pen. I saw that strange magical characters, in Japanese, were written side by side. And below it, many names were written. There were 17 of them. Grandfather was the first, and everyone's names had been signed all over it. The people who arrived at the Golden Land probably signed this one after the other.
バトラー、お前で全てが揃う。心して聞くがよい。
黄金鏡は魔女の力だけで保たれている世界ではありません。そこで幸福を享受する全ての人間による協力と承認が必要なのです。そのためにここには全員のサインが揃わねばならないのです。
前回 黄金鏡の扉がようやく開いたが、お前はサインを拒んだ。
Yeah, I do remember that happening.
記憶にはないだろうがな。お前がサインを拒んだため、この世界を再び闇に閉ざしてしまったのだ。
それだけを聞いてると、なんだか俺一人が頑固で、みんなにいろいろと迷惑をかけたように聞こえるな。
そなたの頑固は折り紙付きであるからな。金蔵から受け継いでいるのは血だけではないらしいぞ。
Beto laughed amicably. I should have felt that she was making fun of me, but without thinking, I went along with her laughing and smiling.
魔法とはすなわち奇跡は全員が死んじゃわねば完成する。そして最後のそなたが信じてくれることで、この奇跡、黄金鏡は完成するのだ。
なんだかいろいろ迷惑をかけちまったみたいだな。それで俺はどうすりゃいいんだ？
まずここにあなたのサインを、次にベアトリーチェはここにサインを。
羽ペンって使いづらいな。うわっ、弾いた。
下手くそ。インク弾きは縁起が悪いのだぞ。自分の名前くらいとっとと書け。ミミズがのたくるようにな。
お前こそなんだよ、カタカナで書くなよ。ベアトリーチェなんて洒落た名前なんだから、ちゃんと筆記体で書け。
That is actually one thing that I'm familiar with. In all of these tips that we've been given her. What is it? Katakana is the phonetic script used in Japanese, which usually used to write foreign names and is the way Beatrice's name is written every time during the game. Apparently, Beatrice doesn't sign her name with the Roman alphabet and sticks with the katakana. I don't know how much longer this is. I was planning on doing a little bit more, either finishing it or getting to some stopping point. I imagine finishing it. But I'm getting a little bit worried that the recording might be going for too long, so I'm just gonna reset it really quick, so give me just a second.